Greetings, everyone. Rev.Hawksblood here. I just want to mention to everybody out there that gets to listen to this, today is the 7th. There's supposed to be riots and protests all around the United States, maybe the world as well, boycotting the idea of getting forced injections. I know one state, the schools are already in trouble because there's no school buses. Then they're not. The kids are lined up on streets everywhere, and people are protesting. A lot of the teachers are protesting because they don't want to get the injection. So we'll see how big it gets today. They wanted to close down the United States. Let's see how far they get with that. But just wanted to put that information out there. It's happening right now. So I don't know where you live, what state, what's going on there. Check it out. See if it's affecting them or not. But it could be bad. I mean, if 70% of the United States had their injections, that would only leave 30% of the United States to protest, which isn't a lot considering how many of those people are going to actually go out and protest. But we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm not working. I mean, I can't protest anything. Just supporting them. I mean, that would be the only thing. But just check it out today. That's what's happening today in the news and around the world. But we're going to be talking about, well, I'll be talking about all the experiences that I had directly. Tina will bring up whatever she needs to or wants to. And this is our stuff. We're not going over other people's books and stories and fairy tales or any of that stuff. It's what actually happened to us in our lifetimes. I mean, lots of things happen. Sure, it's history, but it's our history and it's our facts. It's not like we wrote a book 50 years ago on a story. It was what really happened to me, and it's what really happened to Tina. Now, just so you know, we're being affected greatly right now, the planet. There's a lot of ships going on and everything else. And last night I went out, I saw these white beams. They were kind of like really wide. Why I'm bringing that up, 9/11 is going to be active on TV, on the internet. David Icke, and he's going to be with the news host talking about the actual facts of what they found out and proved. There's a book out there in detail, every aspect of every part of the earthquakes that were going on during that. It's mind-boggling. None of it should fit the way it is. After the buildings went down, there was super gigantic vibrations in the planet underneath there. Don't forget they removed the gold from underneath the grounds there, and a lot of different things were going on. But the effects and the wind, the clouds are all doing things that they shouldn't be doing, showing that it had to be other things other than a plane crashing into a building. How the third building fell, all those kind of things, including directed energy weapons. So a lot of it's coming out this weekend. If you want to hear all about it, check it out. It's David Icke and a news reporter, I think Brian Williams, somebody really big reporter is going to be on, and they're going to be talking about the facts that have been exposed over the past, 20 years now? This is the 20th anniversary. So people, I don't know if you pray about it or think about it. I mean, some people lost family. A lot of policemen died. A lot of firemen died. So it was a really bad thing, but the truth of it should be out there right now, not stories. We should be understanding what really went down, why it was set up, and who set it up and all that. I mean, people just hide from the truth. I mean, that's one of the most horrible things that ever happened, and it was created by humans. So I think that truth should come out, or people should be looking for it. Now, hundreds of builders and contractors all came out with their ideas. Metal like that just doesn't turn to dust. I was there. I walked right over it when it happened. Metal doesn't turn into dust no matter how you heat it up. All right. And what was left was a small rubble. They just showed a building down in Britain that went down. It was 3 times big piles of stuff left there, not dust. So there's a lot of facts that nobody's talking about. Who's paying people off? Who's the people that are trying to come out? There's a book out there. I'm not going to give the name and everything, but it's every detail, the graphs and everything that happened during that time frame. If you care, you probably don't. So getting on with today, what went on in my life and what went on with Tina. But here's Tina. Greetings, Tina. How are you today?
Hello, Tommy. Greetings to everyone in Hawaii and across the US. And it's been a very hot day here in England. It's been 30 degrees Celsius. So it's been extremely hot, and I've been in a place inside cooking area. It's been up to 45 degrees Celsius, so it's extremely hot today, but like heat gets to you a bit. But evening's a bit cooler, and it is. We're in autumn time here now in the UK, so it's a surprise to see it so hot still at the end of this year coming. And like Tommy, there have been a few changes and whispers today at work, I must say, that there might be a temporary lockdown in October half term in the UK, purely to stop any build-up of children going to school. But it's all hearsay now, so because we've been told that there's been no more lockdowns, everything's been lifted. But I haven't watched the news yet this evening, so I will watch that and let you know about that when the Prime Minister announces that. Like Tommy said, I picked up Tommy. They said that they're seeing white streaks and things in the sky. We've seen a lot of white objects and actual lights. And last night, my partner took a picture of this. I'll just show you all quickly. This is not a plane. It's not a bird. It's not a weather balloon, and it doesn't hover in the sky and sit there and what have you. So let me just kind of get it up quickly. I don't want the camera, sorry. Just trying to get it quickly. I do apologise. I've got my glasses on. So this was sat in the sky, guys. So I'm just going to enlarge it a little bit. So if you can see that there, guys, that was in the sky, floating. Actually, that was. So I looked up. It's over the back here, literally over my house, up in the sky. If you looked up last night, that's what it was. That's not a plane. There's no wings on it. It's not a bird. It's not a drone. You can clearly see that, and there you go. Okay, and then my dog's rubbing herself in a cup, and I'm mad. And like Tommy said, there's been streaks across the sky. We have loads of pictures of them. Pictures like that, actually. So, oh, there you go. So loads of things like that shooting across the skies, or things like that. And there's some other things, guys. You can see them clearly in the sky at night, in the atmosphere, not outside of our planet. So if you can see them in the atmosphere. But apart from that, there's been a lot of like sightings, and apparently there's a meteor that came over Southampton in the docks here in England, not far from where I live, actually, probably about 5-10 minutes. As a crow flies, it's probably about 2 or 3 minutes, but by car, it's probably about 5-10 minutes. And it came across and landed, or I'm not sure if it came across and hit the ground. I'll have to look at the news again later, but that was yesterday. Today's the 7th of September, so we are getting there. And like Tommy said, we are open to questions every week. We're open to people coming on the show. If you'd like to ask us questions, or you have something for us to tell us, or you'd like to come on the show, we'd obviously ask you loads of questions. You can call in and speak to Tommy and come on to the show. You can email us, ask any question, or if you have an answer from a previous show or about a question we've asked, there's always something we don't know. We're only experienced people in abduction because it's happened to us. Tommy has many more years on me. I'm 50, and I only, came out a few years ago due to medical reasons and wanting answers with my partner. So many other people my age, or probably older, that haven't even come out, that have had these experiences and don't want to be, ostracized. But I think it's important people do come forward, do get the help they need, whether it be medical or just to get it off your chest and tell someone. We're all human beings in this. And I think nowadays it is more appropriate to do it. Now they understand more. It's a real phenomenon. It does happen. And people can learn, human beings, as a race, we can learn more. I think, anyone out there, that has been truly abducted, then, you have my empathy. Please come on the show, or just contact a local UFO group, find somewhere online, contact me or Tommy, and we can try and put in someone to talk to or talk with. Tommy?
I want to start with my childhood for me, but just want you to know there's two sides in the UFO world right now, and I'm kind of not on either side anymore. First, the ones that are saying that this is all a good thing happening with the aliens and what they're doing, the implants and all that. And then the other one is like, all aliens are good. So I'm against that completely. I know what I went through, what I experienced, the people I've been around. and Tina is one of the people that's more recent that I deal with. But I'm going to start for me. I was 6 years old when it all started, and I noticed, and by all the people I dealt with, it starts usually when they're 6. A lot of people are abducted, taken out for the first time when they're 6. Don't ask me how the aliens would find out that a child's 6 years old and come and get them. But it seems that's when they're most vulnerable, or whatever the word is at that time. But for me, I can't be abducted, so I wasn't taken on a ship. But my brother had his tonsils out, and he did a lousy job. So they were bringing him back in the hospital to do it again. But at that time, when I was young, they made everybody get their tonsils taken out. Well, not made them, but they told everybody they should. My mother made us. So I was in the hospital. We were in like a 3-bedroom room. 2 on one side, I was on the other side. My brother was next to the window. This other boy was in the room on the right corner, and I was on the opposite side of them. But we were in cribs. They had the pull-up bars on both sides of the crib. So it was getting about somewhere around 12 o'clock, 12 midnight. And I was singing a song that Bill Cosby put out, which I don't support him at any level, but it was about having your tonsils out, and he's going, ice cream. We're going to get ice cream, because they tell you you're going to get ice cream after you have your tonsils taken out while you're spitting out blood and everything else. Yeah, really. So I'm in my crib talking to the boy across the way from me, and my brother stands up in the crib screaming. He's at the back of the crib with his hands up in the air. Tommy, Tommy, Tommy. So I jump out of my crib, go running over there, and there's this big white ship coming right up to the window. And he's still screaming. So I put my hands like that on the window and spread them apart. And I stared at the ship, and then it went straight back out into space. So that was the first actual UFO experience I had, and I was 6 years old. I mean, my brother was there. I can't even bring my brother out right now. He's going senile within the past 9 months. He doesn't remember anything. It's really sad, but that's how it started for me. But I'm going to let Tina give her first experience that she remembers and how it went down.
Actually, funny enough, Tommy, mine was I was about 6 years old, actually. So whether it's achieving that age to remember repetitive things, or it's just a part of your physiology or biology growing up, I don't go that deep, so I don't know. But all I remember, my first one that I remember, I was just in my bedroom, woke up middle of the night, and I woke up, I'm not sure, something had woke me up, and I couldn't figure out what it was. And normally I slept soundly, no problems, always a good sleeper. I woke up and pulled back the sheets, got out of bed, and I had my pink nightie on. I think I had a frill on it. And got out of bed, and I could hear my family snoring lightly. So my brothers were in the next room to the right to me, and my mum and dad was in the next room down, and the bathroom light was on. And I crept out of bed and just stood there. I think my arms were down by my side, I was listening like that, and I took a couple of steps forward. So I was just on the threshold of my door to my bedroom, and I took a step forward, and I stopped, and I could hear everyone lightly like snoring and breathing, and all of a sudden this bright white light just shoots down through the ceiling, through the floor, and it filled up the and it was just there. And then I don't know how long I was there. I think maybe a couple of seconds, I don't know. Couldn't move. I was just mesmerised, but I was just looking at it, stood there. Don't know if I couldn't move or what, I don't know. And all of a sudden this face appeared, and it filled up from the ceiling all the way down, like it was like a good 2 foot wide, and then went down. It was like a good 6 foot face, it was huge, and just stared at me. It was like an image of a man's face, but it was in a light made of light. And I turned right round to run back into my bedroom, and the light shot forward, and I don't remember nothing. Next thing I know, it was the next day, and I was 6 years old. So back in the 70s. So my phone. So that was my real first experience I remember. You know, from the time it happened, it's never left me. And then it wasn't until I was older, in my late 20s, early 30s, I think, mid 30s, that something happened, and I had like a flashback, and I remembered another time they took me, and they were testing my legs under this orange light with a grid over my legs. And I had a flashback to looking at my legs, thinking this is going to hurt. But the flashback was my legs when I was a kid. And they did the same thing to me when I was younger, but I didn't remember at the time. But when I had this flashback, I remembered them doing it to me as a kid. So I have memory as an adult of them doing it as a child, and I have a direct memory of a child. So there's my two, how I started off. And they were about the ages of 6 years old. So it does, I just remember from that, about that period of time in my life. I don't remember. I remember things with my family, but I don't remember abduction experiences or anything I could relate to that. That's just what happened, and that was it. Tommy.
So for me, my next experience, I mean, I've been having, between the time I was 6 and 12, a lot of things were going on at a more spiritual level, which I won't get into right now. But what happened when I was 12, I had a friend in school. He was my best friend. It was going to be like the first time I invited him over to stay overnight on my house. So we did our thing during the day, and at nighttime it was getting close to going to bed and everything. But him and me heard a bunch of noises. It was a two-floor house, and we heard noises downstairs. So we started going down the stairs, and we saw a shadow, and then we saw this image, and I'll describe it as semi-human with a cat's head. All right, we were running upstairs, and I went to call my mom, and I said, "Hey, we saw it," and she goes, "You didn't see anything." So we both grabbed the bat and the stick, and then we went running downstairs to chase it. I was brave when I was young, so we chased it, and when we got down there, we saw it go right through the door, and then it was out of my house. And then we went running back upstairs. My mother goes, "Hold on. You go in the other room. Let me talk to him, my friend, first, then I'll talk to you." So she asked him what he saw, how he saw it, what happened. Then she asked me. She goes, "Well, I don't know. Our cat's right here, so it couldn't have been the cat." Right away, it's always blame the cat, blame whatever. So, all right, we went in the bedroom. My father was working all night, so he wasn't around. So we got to spend the night in the bed. So we just get laying down in the bed, and we see this bright light, and we look out the window, and the ship takes off. All right, we watch it, and it was like mind-boggling, because it was like not really close to my house, but in my yard, which is a little bit further away. It went out a little bit further, and it just went straight up. It didn't make much noise. I mean, it's not like everybody says, "Oh, they make a lot of noise." Some might, I don't know, but I never met one or was in close to one that did. And then it took off. But that was my second experience. But from that point on, everywhere I went, when I went long distance trips and stuff, I always had ships following me, over me, and things like that. So I'll get into some of them. But I want to bring out now, my childhood was different. I mean, I was the black sheep of the family. I liked all the things nobody liked. I didn't like to do anything everybody else liked to do. Play cards, play board games, play with little toys. That was not me. So for me, I was at my grandmother's house, who was the person I always stayed with, because I couldn't deal with my father. He was real super abusive. So when I was with my grandmother, she would take me to the park. We picked apples, and we made applesauce. We did a lot of different cool things when I was little. But my grandfather came up from it was like two buildings together, like 10 families in each one, and he was the manager of it. He come up with, we had dumbwaiters. If you had a dumbwaiter, puts the garbage up and down through the floors. Well, he brought a board game up. It was a Ouija board. From that day on, I played with the Ouija board, no lie. And the first thing is, I sit down with my grandmother, and we're making it move around and say things. So she goes, "What's the number for tomorrow?" And I don't know what it said, like 8694. And she goes, "Let's check and see what happens tomorrow." Sure enough, it came out. So what happens? The next day we ask her for the number, and she goes out and plays it. Obviously, it didn't come out. But, it's a matter of, like, they don't interfere with time. When you deal with spirits and things like that, they can't play that game with us. Or we'd really be in a sad place right now if we could. But during that time frame, I was into robots. I had every kind of robot. I build them, make them. I won 2 science fairs because I built the robot, one of them, and I was into all that. But I had this one robot, little one, about maybe 10 inches, 12 inches. And I put him on my table. He actually disappeared. And nobody believed me. They said he didn't walk away. I kept saying he walked away. And they go, no, he couldn't have walked away. You must have left him somewhere. I said, no, I had him right there. I never found that robot. But I mean, I got pulled into all the TV series like Star Wars and all them. But Lost in Space was my favorite because of the robot. Robbie the Robot was my favorite show. And then the most important movie I ever saw, The Day the Earth Stood Still. I think that had to be the coolest robot that ever came out of the TV world.
Klaatu. Was it Klaatu, his name, the robot?
Yeah. But he was cool. Now, the new movie with what's his face is
Keanu Reeves.
Keanu Reeves. That movie's horrible. I mean,
I like that.
It's a good movie if you want to watch it as a movie. But if you're trying to compare it to what the first movie was, what it's supposed to be simulating, was not even close. They made that robot blow into a bunch of little mechanical bugs, which was horrible. It was the coolest thing. You couldn't do that to that guy. No, but people should watch it. If you never saw it, the first one came out in 1950, I think. But it was the most important movie because I feel if the aliens were good, they would do that. All right. I really feel that's how it would go down if aliens wanted to help us and were good, but they're not. And the second movie I'll throw in real fast is the movie V. I think that's the way it's going to go down. All right. It's a series, and these aliens are all around the planet, making people thinking they're helping us and doing all these great things. But watch it. I don't know. It's a series. You can watch it online now. It's really cool because I think what we're going to see and experience is going to happen. And I'll throw something in a little bit. I was dealing with somebody from MJ12 people. That's the most important group in the United States dealing with UFOs. We were supposed to get honey. He offered it. He said, I'm going to give you a bottle of honey. He said it'll cure any sickness that you have on this planet. All right. Now, at the same time, I don't know if you remember X-Files, the movie came out, and it was all about a beehive and a colony and a honey, and then she got bit by the bee. Basically, that was based on all the facts. Remember, X-Files was based on actual facts. Every show. So when that happened, it was the same time he offered us honey, and it was also the same time he was killed. So I'll leave that at that. I'll give it back to Tina.
I don't know what to say to follow that one on, Tommy. Jesus. I mean, wow. For me, growing up, having an experience like that does phase and change you. And perhaps parents notice our behaviour and put it down to growing up, or if you're in a girl in a family, or, you know, children do exhibit some strange behaviour when they're young, and others just withdraw and make it quiet. For me, it kind of, I didn't want to make a fuss of it, and it kind of dissolved and went away. It's always in the kind of the back of your mind. But a life takes over. So for me, it was a bit different than Tommy, because Tommy is when you know it's, people don't seem to realise when you know it's happening, people don't believe you, and people think you're weird or aggressive, or you're trying to protect you and your family, and they don't see that. And there's no way for you to protect them from that. So when you're a bit full on, when it happens, people are like, no, but you are like that. You don't know how you're going to react until it happens to you. So you don't know what you're capable of, so it does change you, and it does change the way you look at things, and it does change the way you have relationships with people, and the way you grow up, and how you perceive and protect your family. So it does separate you from people, because I'm just an everyday person, as is Tommy, but we're people that have had these experiences that change who we are. We haven't changed ourselves. It's like if you were in a severe car crash and you were injured, you'd have to overcome that. But you think about it a lot, and you wouldn't want to make that mistake again. And you'd be more wary getting in and out of cars. And you'd say to people, wear your seatbelt, beware of other drivers. And you'd be like that. So me and Tommy are a bit like that. We're like, beware of these things coming down out the sky. They're there, they're real, and it's happening. So, people said that the Earth was flat, and that all kinds of other views. Science has proved it different, and time, most importantly, time. So time is relatively small for humans. It's a short time if you think about it. 80 years can go by in the blink of an eye, or 50 years. But we change with everything that's happened with our lives. So as an abductee, there comes a point when you get the same thing every day in your life, or every few years, it cuts you off from other people. You want to address it, you want to fight back, or you give up and you've had enough. So, and then it does, being abducted does change who you are. But people says, like Tommy said, it's all I'm spiritual, I'm this, I'm that. There may be for other people, but not for me. It wasn't, and I'm now a defensive person. I mean, seeing other humans up there and not being able to do nothing with myself up there, and there's been more than one time, you know, that I felt that I was going to die, and I was absolutely powerless, or I couldn't do anything, and I thought that was it. So when people say, "I want to be abducted," and you're nothing special, I'm not nothing special, and if you want to be abducted, you're crazy. But we are defensive. We tell you how it is because we've lived that, and it does change who you are every day. And we repeat ourselves because the story doesn't change. It's the same story. You just need to sink in. These things are real, and it does happen to people. And more attention should be paid by our government for that. Tommy, sorry.
You know, I pay a lot of money for my cable. I'm paying for high speed as well. And right now I'm having interference. I mean, it's raining out. I got a cable. It's not like I have a satellite antenna getting my signal. It should be solid and it shouldn't be affected by the rain. So I don't know what's going on with that. I'm going to call them up. I mean, I'm paying, I don't know how much extra from going to 200 speed to 400 speed. But I'm going to cancel it. I mean, why pay for it if it's not going to help? I only did it to help my show, which it's not doing. So, but I wanted to go into a few other things. Like, for me, I got involved with things nobody would want to or did or could. I started hypnosis when I was 14. All right. And I was working with my neighborhood and all that. But what I did, by the time I was 19, I wanted to advance that to something different. Now, here's my philosophy. And I'm not saying right or wrong. I said, if I hypnotize myself to be Superman, I could be Superman. All right. And why I can say that, when you hypnotize a person and you put their arm out and you say your arm's a bar of steel, you can't bend their arm no matter what you do. Or you put them in the ground and you're welded to the ground. 10 people could try to pick you up and they can't. I mean, the things you could do when a person's hypnotized is incredible. Like, you could say, you don't feel a thing. You could stick a knife in them and they don't feel a thing. I was working with my girlfriend at the time. She was having a tattoo and she was like screaming that I hypnotized her so she didn't feel a thing. The lady that was running said, "Oh, I want you to work with me because I got a lot of guys passing out and blah, blah, blah." But getting past that part of it, when I was 20-something, I created a word, past life regression. It's what I figured I wanted to do, bring people back. And I created it. Now, the woman, I'm not going to say her name, she died a couple of years ago, claiming she invented it. But when I did it, that's what I wanted to do. See, it helped me, because when I put a person back and bring them to events, and when I bring them back to birth, and then I bring them back through the realm of before birth and back into birth again, and I see what they went through and then their past lives and stuff, it's really cool. I thought it was cool, because I was learning through that as well. But when I started working with abductions, many people that I worked with had lost time. They don't talk about that much. Lots of people go through lost time, and they don't remember because it's lost time. And if they're daydreaming, they say, "Well, I was just having fun, daydreaming." But lost time usually means something's happening, all right? Especially if you're supposed to be awake and you're sitting outside and you're blinking. Okay, it's 2 hours, 3 hours later. Guess what? It's lost time. But see, that's what I wanted to find out about. And this is before I didn't do anything for other people. I only did it for myself. I wasn't writing books about it, and I didn't care about other people. But when I did it, I wanted to find out what happened to these people. And sure enough, they've been abducted. They were taken on a ship. So, and then what I can do when you hypnotize a person, you can make them remember it or you can make them forget it. If it's a really bad experience, you would try to help them forget it. But if it's a lost time, they need to remember it. All right, which I always made it sure that when you wake up, you'll remember this. I mean, so again, it was something that I played with. I met Kreskin when I was 12, and I started doing hypnosis with my friend at 12. And then by the time I was 14, I hypnotized all my friends. Then I started doing my family. Then I started doing groups of people. Because at that time, suddenly, hypnosis in schools and colleges was becoming really big. And I was going to go into that. But the more I realized I didn't want to get involved with people's problems or give them more problems to deal with. So I went into personalized doing past life regression. But then I moved from that. I went into psychic implant removals because I know that one guy who died, he was removing the implants. But you could deactivate them at a spiritual level. A vibration could deactivate it, which was I was doing with people. I wasn't writing books about it. I wasn't recording people's names. I just helped people whoever I could. Now, I'll give it back to you in a second, but the last part of that is I started getting involved with a lot of UFO people. I mean, the first girl I met, she was pregnant, lost a child at 8.9 months. And she goes, I want to show you the proof. She pulled out the sonograms and everything. When she went to the hospital, the day after they removed her child, the hospital said, you were not pregnant. There's no evidence. Well, you just took a sonogram yesterday. You saw something there. Now you're saying nothing happened? Because she didn't understand how it could happen. All right, that was the first time. And then I started dealing with women that lost their children and helping them deal with that. Because now she met them, the child that was taken. 2 years later, she had a second child, which they took as well. All right, now, what it would do to your life, people say, well, science and government, doctors, they don't care. Oh, that's just your mind playing games. She had documents and x-rays and you name it. So when people say it's all make-believe, today they're still saying it's make-believe. The UFO world, all the government, it's all make-believe. And maybe it's a ship from somewhere else. No, we don't take babies from a person and prove, and they can be tested and beat. But she was taken to see them. And she said, and they told her she'll never see the children again. That's the first time she saw them. But, it's sad because, like Tina, she's going through a lot. Government doesn't care. I mean, she could have a nervous breakdown, die, and they don't care. She's just crazy. Even though they know she's right. They have to know what's going on. And people say disclosure. The only disclosure that we need as a people is what they do to humans in people's houses. Who cares what the government's doing? It's not going to help us. But when your son, your daughter, your wife, you get abducted, it's your reality. That's where you're going to need help, where you need people to communicate with. So, and we don't have, there's UFO groups, but see, too many people think all aliens are good, and they're not. Show me the good stuff. Show me. Oh, well, they shut down the nuclear reactor. Yeah, because they don't want us to blow up the planet. They need the planet. They don't need us. And people don't want to look at that either. Well, if they wanted to destroy, yes, of course they could. They could have destroyed us 30,000 years ago, and they didn't. They destroyed Atlantis, but they didn't destroy the human race. So people, we deal with all these UFO specials and these people talking. Oh, the good aliens are going to help us, and this is going to happen, and this is. Are you watching the planet? We're in the worst shape we've ever been in. And who's helping us? Nobody. I mean, Tina's like, she said we should have disability for people that have been abducted. And then we should. You smoke, you get money. You do drugs, you get money. You get abducted, freak you. What? This is not it's not even my fault. This is their fault. This is not even my fault. You're supposed to be protecting the planet, protecting us, right, Tina?
War crimes, isn't it? Human torture and war crimes.
I mean, it's sad the way the UFO world's going now. And now that 9/11's coming up, I want you to pull up everything you can and watch it because there's so many facts pertaining to it was partially, all right, there's two things that they don't talk about. Directed energy weapons, which hit the building, all right? And then Coast to Coast put a video up that the following week of a UFO going straight through that building right before it exploded. Whether how it was created or make-believe or who knows, but it was filmed then, the same time that happened, and it was put all over the internet, and then it disappeared. All right, how real was it? Now, Preston Nichols and Al Baggage, Nick Baggage and Al Bielek and Preston Nichols, were involved with the Montauk Project. Now, Preston Nichols was called out the day after 9/11 went down. And he came up with two theories. The alien ship had to go through there and take everything out of it, or it was some kind of directed energy beam, which it probably was. But in the interim, they analyzed. There was no rebel. I mean, there should have been. You can't destroy bone teeth. I mean, you could blast it with all kinds of heat, temperature, where there should be teeth bones and all that. They removed every speck of evidence after that happened because they couldn't let anybody analyze any of it. He said there wasn't even a burnt piece of a computer chip or anything. So how did that all get burnt up and turned to dust? See, people, things are happening, and it's right in front of our face for reasons. Why that really went down, why it was set up, who was really involved. Let's blame Israel, Iraq. Let's blame somebody for it. Really? Let's the directed energy weapons at the West right now are coming from the United States. Is anybody complaining about that? You should be. I mean, sure, they need to test them, but California is being attacked for major reasons. I'm not going to get into it, but people, you need to do your own research, and you need to go online. You need to check the news, because you got to find what you're looking in between to find the truth. Well, I'm going to find the truth about what? If you don't know what's happening, you're not going to find the truth about what's happening because you don't know what's happening. You need to be aware. You need to be aware what's going on around you. The UFO world's exploding wide open. More and more people coming out, but sadly, they're programmed stories. Oh, I was on a ship and they took me. We went out for ice cream and then we had whatever. The stories are so incredibly nice. They came to the universe to meet us, to take us out to dinner. What's the story of the guess who's coming to dinner? Really? I'll give it back to you, Tina.
Well, I think Tommy's right on every count there. I mean, I'm always against people like to narrow it down from a harsh word of abduction to contactee. So let's just take contactee for a second. So if people in the UFO field and ufology and abduction field like to say contactee, then basically that word contactee means contact is being made with that specific person by another non-human race. Therefore, extraterrestrial contact has happened. It's not happened how they want, little green men coming down and landing on the president's lawn. Over the years, contact has happened with specific people or just by fluke, by people that remember by accident. But contact is being made. It's not the way human beings perceive it, or if it is, it's being covered up. It's my belief and my experience that contact is made by people, not that they've chosen, because believe you me, there have been hundreds and millions of people that have been taken and don't even know it. There's people up there awake but asleep. When I was up there, they were all on this conveyor belt thing, and they were all like they were dead, but they weren't. All like their eyes were open, and they were just like looking forward, a bit like probably I was. So, and they probably don't even realise that they've been taken or remember that. So, a contactee is a person who's having contact with a non-human being, human species. So, does it make us special? No, because millions and millions of people are reporting this. It's just not being looked at scientifically or as it should be. They want calculable facts and this and that. Well, if these beings are so above us, so more efficient and millions of years ahead of us, then how are we going to calculate all their evidence? We don't simply have the capability to do that. So how do they say that that's not true when we don't have the capability to measure that? So that's interesting. Well, interesting to me. So so contactee to me is a person that's been contacted by non-extraterrestrial, a non-human entity. And on the other side of that, it's not, for me, it's not been a positive experience. There may have been, I don't know, because I've not seen anybody else's personal one-on-one experience. So what they say could have maybe is true and it has happened. I can't comment on that because I wasn't there and I didn't see. I can only tell you what my experience is, what I've seen, and what has happened to me. And all I can say is it wasn't pleasant. There's times I thought I was going to die. I've seen other people up there. For you to be taken against your will from your home by a species that are invading your space in your home, your area, and your body, taking samples. You don't. How is that being looked at by a species? How are we being kept safe? We're not. How is that a positive thing? You're basically a guinea pig stuck to a table, unable to move. And I think the only good part is that they put you back, but the bad part about that is they know where you live and they come back and take you again. So there is not a win-win situation for what I see as human beings. You may have an advantage if they listen to abductees and listen to what they're saying or things that they remember. But I think there's a lot of people like me that do remember a lot more and haven't said anything that they could, or people that do talk to them. They lean over Pacific human beings, or they lean over you to see if they can talk to you, or you're compatible to talk to them, or you're open to talk to them. Well, that's how they connect with you. But for me, it doesn't need to be that close. As soon as I know one of them is in a proximity, you can link to them. But I think where an experiencer dulls down the fact, they try to make nicey with the word abduction. And that doesn't sit well with me. It is what it is. Tommy?
Well, as I was saying, my life changed since I was 6, but as I got older, it started getting more abstract because I was dealing with spiritual things on one side and seeing UFOs all the time as well. I saw the classic UFO when I was 22. I was driving on a highway. The classic cylinder ship, circular I meant, with all these blue and red lights spinning around it. The most coolest thing. I'm talking about a big ship, not a little drone or something like that. And it followed me for 15 minutes. And I couldn't believe it. And I thought sure they were going to try to get me or something. But I kept driving. Obviously, we didn't have cameras in our cars and cell phones and all that at the time. But I was driving, and then it just completely disappeared in front of my eyes. So, and that's just one time, and it happened all the time. Because later on, I got involved with a person, Sergeant 18, and we went up to the place, Wanacue, New Jersey, where the government has a base, and they do all this work. That's where Tesla was doing all his work with DuPont, and all these things happened. The ship, the most important UFO story that ever happened that I know of, that's not publicized, is what happened in Wanacue, New Jersey. Now, what happened there, and this is all around Preston Nichols' time and things like that, and it was part of the Montauk Project. I wasn't on Montauk that long, but I did go out there. But I want to get back to the Jersey part. It's a triangle: Wanacue, New Jersey, Pine Bush, New York, and Long Island, Montauk, Long Island. It's a triangle, and that's the energy field. It's not even talked about. It's the circle where the biggest vortex of UFO stuff happened, where vortex opened and all that. The Wanacue Reservoir was where a city was. They brought all the people out of the city and flooded it. Then, right after they flooded it, 9 months, UFOs went in and out of it. The Army was stationed around it. All right. And they watched these ships. When it froze in the winter, the ships went right through the ice, right inside as well. So that lasted for about 9 months. And then it just ended. The Army left, and then the UFO activity in that lake kind of ended. Pine Bush, New York, which was right next to it, was the biggest UFO sighting. It was a hangout. People from all over would go there at nighttime and sit on the side of this road watching the ships coming and going. And everyone had their own stories about the ships landing and it came out. But the government said, we can't allow that. So they closed the road off. And they wouldn't let people sit there and go there and everything else because it became too popular. And then because they opened up the New York UFO group and stuff right near it, but they would all go there now. And it was hanging. But then when I met Sergeant 18, him and his girlfriend, we said, well, let's go up to the mountain right above that place. So we got in the car, we brought sleeping bags, and we went up to this mountain. We drove in this little thing, got up to the top. We're bringing sleeping bags out and everything. This giant ball light, orangey red, I'm talking maybe the width of a trailer, came straight down, maybe 100 yards from us, and went right into the ground. And we didn't go to run and see what it was that night. We said, oh, we're going to have lots of stuff. But the next morning we went there was not a trace of anything happening to the ground or anything else. It went right through the ground, whatever it was. So their abilities, I knew them, were so different than our abilities that we do with ships and how we can travel and all that. But we didn't get to film it. We put all the cameras out after it happened, so we didn't get to film that. And something I'll tell you, I put a book out there if you want to see a UFO, but basically, if they don't want you to see them, they'll make sure you don't. If they don't care, they'll let you. And that's the way it goes down. If they know you don't have a camera, they'll come right in front of your face. But if you have a camera and
I can never get my camera out quick enough. I won't even go out there with my phone, and by the time I get my phone out, it's either flashing on or it just sits there. And but I can never seem to get video, and I'm always seem to be pushing a button and nothing's happening. It's so frustrating.
To one of the guests in the room, I have a book. It's called How to See a UFO Field Manual. I give it away for free. It's 200 pages. It's a PDF file. If you're interested, Hawksblood1AOL.com. I'll send you it. It'll tell you how to see a UFO in a simple matter where you don't have to be a Superman or anything else. All right, and everything else that's going on. But I wanted to just say, Tina's one of the few people that I deal with in the UFO world because I trust her. I feel she's honest every which way. She has more proof than most people, and that's why I get along. I mean, we don't agree on everything. Nobody can. But what she went through, I can't say I don't agree with because I didn't go through what she went through, and very few people will, but the people that did know what she went through. Travis Walton, I mean, up and down the story, he's real, he's fake, and all that other stuff, but he still doesn't know what happened. All right, Tina, quick question. What's happening? Do you have a date or anything for this hypnosis session?
Well, unfortunately, I haven't been rescheduled. I was so excited and ramped up because it took me a long time to come to terms with what, I was going to have it done. And I spoke to a few people. I even spoke to Travis Walton about it. And I was ramped up, ready to go. And 2 days before, obviously, my dog had passed away. I couldn't go because I injured my leg. But my brother was going to take me. And then when I phoned to confirm, they said that they double booked me with a date with their family, and their family obviously came first, and that they couldn't do my hypnotic regression. And I'd worked myself up for months for this. They apologised, and I've got to try and book another day because I've got to go to Birmingham, which is like 3/4 of the way up the country from where I am. So, and it's time off work. So, I've got because I work, see. So, I have to try and wait till I've got another couple of days off to try and book. I want to have it done, but yes,
come out to Hawaii. Come out to Hawaii.
Yeah, change a couple of British COVID laws so that I can come out to Hawaii, and I'll be there. I do plan. I'd love to come out and meet Tommy person to person. I think that would be great. So wait till the COVID thing's over, and I'd love to come out and meet you. That would be fabulous. But we've got a few minutes left, Tommy. Get your Geiger counter. I found it. Have you got yours, Tommy? Me and Tommy. And Tommy told me to go and get a Geiger counter. This is it, guys. I've had it a while now. I bought it on Amazon. It was less than 20 English pounds. I don't even think it was 18. There it is there. There's the number at the bottom, and there it is on the back. It tells you what it is on the back there, guys. Hold it a bit closer. And so that's it there. So we're just going to turn it on there, guys. So the top one there is volts per meter. That's electrical magnetic field. The bottom one is micro testers, which is going off already. It doesn't normally do that. It's a Geiger counter. It's electrical magnetic field. So as I put it towards the telly, normally my TV, they go, I have a smart TV and it doesn't give off anything. So it should go right down. The closer it gets to me, it shouldn't even be doing that. Oh, there you go. That's right next to the TV. Normally it does not do that. So this is not normal. And then when I get closer to me, there it goes, it's gone to 0. Normally it's beeping like mad, but Tommy's got his there. And then earlier we tried it out. Oh, there you go. It's there you go. 47, 50, 54, 52, 57. It's only on the top of my head there.
no, mine's coming from my computer.
So that's just round my head, guys. And it doesn't go off anywhere. Nothing else. Oh, tell a lie. My arm there. 104 to 112.
People, just so you know, radioactive materials do not come and go, do not change. They're not moving around. So whatever Tina is going through is not normal at any level.
Tina, is there a smoke detector in your room? No. The closest one is in the hallway near the front door.
So whatever's going on, mind-boggling. I talk to so many people in the science world and stuff. They say it's impossible, it can't happen. Just watch our show. We didn't
My
get any.
dogs are radioactive. It beeps on them outside.
I was going to mention it, but I don't think I should. It's too close to what's going on in your world right now. But Tina is going through all the effects of radioactive poisoning. So I give her credit because she still looks perfect. I think, and this is only my viewpoint, and I keep telling her this.
What you forgot?
The aliens are keeping her here. Because most people exposed to a large quantity of radiation die. It's not like you just wash it off, hose them down, take a bar of soap and scrub it off. You can't. I mean, Silkwood was an incredible movie about radiation poisoning. It was one of the first things ever released about it. About what's her name was the star in it, and
my partner just took that outside. Can you see that? He just walked the dog. Yes. He just come back in. No, he just took that picture. Where is that in the sky?
Just down there.
North.
Just now?
50 meters away from the house. That's northeast. And it's 5 to 9 here in the UK. Southampton.
Tina, they have to be monitoring you. They have to be, Tina. I'm not kidding.
So the back now.
I say they're keeping her alive, but they need her. They need what she has, her knowledge, and what she's going through, because they got her children. So yeah, there's a lot going on there, and I that's what I totally believe. Sooner or later, we'll find out a little more. But as of right now, that's my thing. But like she said, she's losing her teeth and losing a lot of different things. So it's affecting her greatly, and it's nothing she wants. Yeah. And the government's not going to give her any medical bills to pay. So, Tina, I'm going to give it over to you for the last couple of minutes to do what you need to do. All right.
So, guys, I haven't been advertising my books lately. I'm going to withdraw them from Amazon just for a week or two, a couple of weeks, because there's been some issues with them. So they're going to be but they are going to be re-released before Christmas with my new book. And here is a picture of the front of my new book. It is Bonded: The Truth About Alien Abduction by T.A. Bird. And my cover is under license. It says license cover, and it's protected. It was made specifically for me for my new book. So yeah, that's the Bonded: The Truth About Alien Abduction, and that should be out hopefully before Christmas. I've been Tina Barron here in the UK. Guys, just go outside and look up. That's all you need to do. Go outside, look up with the pair of binoculars, or take a picture, enlarge it, and you'll see things. Start questioning. Ask your local aviation society or your local, what is that?
Anybody out there with money, send us a night vision glasses, because you can see anything with that everywhere. It's incredible. They're $3,500, a really good pair. But in the interim, thank you, Tina. It's always a pleasure.
And you, Tommy. Until next week, thank you for having me on the show again, and I'll see you next week on here. Everybody, bye-bye. Thank you for tuning in. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Tina. All right, people. Tina Bird, great person. I know she's been going through a lot with her radioactive poisoning, and I didn't want to bring it up while she was here because her dog was exposed to it as well. And the dog is gone right now. They don't know how the dog died yet. But for me, somebody said something in the chat room about Plum Island. All right. All I can tell you is they did and are doing all kinds of horrible research there. There was an actual body, half animal, half creature, half human, pound, which they scarfed up pretty fast. And there's a lot of things going on there which nobody can get to find out. But our government, sorry to tell you this, they're doing incredibly bad things. Now, I know they got, I wouldn't say our government, I'll say science and the medical field, the medical money makers of the world, the so-called Pfizer and companies like that. Now, what they're creating, all the viruses have poisons in them and all these different things. They know it. And now with the I can't even say the word, microbiotic cells that they're putting in, even in the chemtrails now, it's getting pretty dangerous, people. And if you're not watching, you need to. Watch what's happening in California. Watch what's happening around that area as well. Oregon, look what's going on in Oregon. These things aren't normal. The fires, because they're increasing them. Somebody is. All right. MJ12 is MJ32. I don't know what they're doing now. I mean, I was lucky to have one connection to it. Laura Eisenhower and people like that claim all these things. She doesn't even know what went down. She has no clue what went down with Eisenhower and Truman. Truman created this whole thing, and Eisenhower had to walk into it and follow through. Nobody wants to talk about that. Eisenhower was stuck in a position. It's like when Biden came in and the virus was already here. He didn't create it. He wasn't the one responsible for it. Trump was involved with that whole deal. So again, people, the facts are there if you're willing to put them together. And I'm telling you, put the pieces together this weekend. Look at all the facts about 9/11. Whether aliens were involved, whether the government was involved with aliens, or whether secret government stuff was involved, which it all was. So what level? When did they move the gold from there? Where was the gold put? See, this whole thing about money and gold. Gold will always be valuable, people. That's my word. Don't sell it. Don't get rid of it. No matter what they tell you right now, if you get rid of it, you won't have it. And then it'll become super valuable. Keep it. It will always be valuable. It was valuable for 30,000 years. You think it's going to stop being valuable now? I mean, titanium and platinum, I mean, yeah, they're valuable as well. But don't get rid of your gold, because everybody's saying, get rid of gold. We're going to be on computer chips. That will last if the computer crashes tomorrow. What? Nobody will have nothing. People, don't listen to everybody out there. We're in a serious place right now. You need to worry about your food and your health and all those things, but not the health that the government's telling you, or science and the so-called medical field and companies. Pfizer. For the vice president of Pfizer to come out and say, ex-vice president, said, if you get the injection, you'll die within 2 years. Imagine going out to the world and saying that publicly. Eisenhower's warning us. No, there's nothing to be warned about. They're doing what they have to do, people. The government doesn't know what the secret government's doing. MJ12, MJ32 is responsible for protecting the world and the United States. And they are. Russia's involved with us. Putin himself said we're having war. 2 alien races want to destroy the planet. We had major wars in space. Not one person will talk about that. Why is that? Because they're killed and disappear or whatever. All right, in 1996, when it all was breaking open, 200 UFO people disappeared or killed. John Ford, who's in the Long Island nut house, shot the best video of a UFO crash, people. We need to get him out. I was going to go way back then and the government told me, FEMA told me, they said, look, you go near them, we'll kill your whole family. So, I was too close to it. But as MUFON and people like that, how come they don't help important people in the UFO world? MUFON's a rip-off company, make-believe storyteller. They didn't do anything important in 25 years. They sold files for money look, it's not a good organization. I was just asking them to get involved with what I was dealing with. And they never did. They kept saying they wanted to know what happened. And they really didn't even want to know what happened. Because when it's too close to the truth, they're afraid. You know, you watch all these ghost specials. I wanted to bring that up. It's kind of past the point, but all these specials talking to ghosts and demons and all that. They got all this high technology now. How real it is? Some of it's real. I'm not saying it's all real, but some of it is. But these people go out there going ghost hunting, and when a ghost touches them on the shoulder, they go running out of the house. What kind of what are you in that field for? If you're afraid of what you're dealing with, you shouldn't be dealing with it. I was a foot away from a Bigfoot. I ran because I didn't have my camera on me. I didn't have anything else. I was running back to the truck to get my camera. Seriously. I didn't know, but when I got back to the truck, it was screaming. I don't want to get into that story, but I'm not afraid. I spent years with Sergeant 18 in a piece of property where all kinds of creatures and entities and everything walked around. Now, what I did want to bring out, the difference between demons, creatures, entities, and aliens. Most people have no way to determine that difference. Christianity will say everything's demons. Give me one split second. My Mr. Little Guy wants to get out. Sorry, guy. You want to go? Go. Don't come back. All right. Sorry about that. And let him take his trip. So, you know, we got so many things going on, people, and I do this show just to put the truth out there, not to lie, to make you feel good or anything. Nothing good's happening. I wish there was. I wish I could tell you good things every day. Saving one child doesn't mean anything to me when you have 1,000 people killed. Look what happened to Hades. I mean, that was the most saddest thing. Yeah, I don't deal with Sargel. He's afraid to talk to me. He always was. But he'll go on with his stories. But when I first met him, I challenged him the day I met him. But we were friends for many years. It kind of went up and down. Then we lost friendship for about 6 years. Then we became friends, and I brought him on my show with Carrie Cassidy. And I had him on for 9 months. It was the best show that she had. We had like 12,000 people come into to see the site the next day. We had like 50 people at least in the chat room every night. And none of them were trolls. And we had a great thing going, but they wanted to charge me money, like $60 a week to do the show. And I said, I can't pay to do the show. And then I dropped it. And then suddenly we ended up becoming, I don't know what the word is, but we're no longer friends. He came into lots of money and he rearranged his life. That's all I can say. He said some rich person gave him the money. I don't believe that. He was suing the government. Hold on. Bye. So let's get this straight, people. There's things happening. You need to know. You need to know the truth. What's going on with the virus? What's going on with everything? It's all connected, people. Everything's connected. I say that. When I talk, I go around in circles because it all is connected. What you're eating right now is connected to the circle because there's poison in it. The ground that it grows on is poisoned. And it, like I said, it's all connected, but it's all in a bad connection. And to people come out to say that we're all one, why would you want to be one with the sickness and the people that are on this planet right now? This is hell, people. I know people don't like to look at it that way. This is the worst it gets for soul. All right. Soul's in a body that feels pain, could be hurt and abused. When it leaves this body and moves into its astral body, it can no longer be hurt. You can't burn it up, chop it up, or any of those things. It doesn't need to eat and all those things. It's a different body. It only gets better. People, you know, I'm going to be doing a workshop. It's probably going to be the most important workshop ever done. I'm going to do it online. It'll be at least 4 days. It might be 6, 8. I don't know how many days it might take, but it'll be roughly 4 days minimum. Two weekends in a row, 2 hours each day. And they might go a little longer each day, depending on if people want to stay there or not. But it's going to be 100% truth. I'm not going to specifically deal with government. All right. But I will get into life, the reason for life, the reason for death, where we go, why we're here, those kind of questions that, oh, nobody knows the answers to those questions. That's the most ridiculous statement ever made. Well, you asked me a question. So Joe discovered that because he lived there. He lived on it. His family had a house right there. And that's why we could go there without getting caught. We could park the cars in his mother's house, and we walked in. And we did that because the cops were patrolling that area all the time and everything else. And when it got really hot, there's signs all over said, if you get caught on this property, you will be shot. We saw incredible things there. I mean, if Sargel and me sat down, which we did, we lectured for a couple of years around the United States for global sciences, and heard the stories that we went through. We went out at least 4 days a week, 4 hours a night, every week for years. We shot maybe 15,000 pictures every night. He downloaded them all. I was passed out, but he would download them all night. He'd download them. What he did, which was, I didn't realize how bad it would affect me in the future, he copyrighted everything. I mean, even when I use pictures, well, that's my copyright, you can't use it, because the company wanted to, but that's kind of, this stupid phone. Oh, nice. Well, so yeah, Sargel is not going to talk to me, probably, maybe never again. I forgive and forget. But he blames me for a lot of things that didn't happen, wasn't my fault, that I was totally unaware of. But that's how it went down. I moved at a UFO conference, and it was two people that everybody at the conference said they're aliens. I started talking to them. Because why'd you talk to them? Duh. But, you know, people have this inner fear of aliens, even though they say they're not. When I saw the Bigfoot, Sargel locked himself inside the van and wouldn't even come out. I had a scientist in the van as well, and he was frozen solid. Finally, he rolled the window down, and I said, get out of there, come on out. And Bigfoot was screaming for about, I guess it was about 15 minutes max. About every half a minute, it would scream. Then it went to dead silence, and then it was howling all over the mountain. I mean, there were wolves there, but we never saw one. We saw footprints in the snow, but we never even heard one. And now they're all howling. I heard stories later on that wolves follow Bigfoot, whether it's after the food they eat or whatever the story is. I don't know. I'm not into Bigfoot that much. I had a good friend that was Keone. He did all 40 years of research with them. I ended my friendship with him. I brought him on his show, and I said, can I ask you questions? And I said, well, where's your proof? And then he goes, well, you said you were. I said, I would debate you at the end. I let him speak for an hour and a half. People are afraid. I'm challenging everybody out there in the UFO world. Not one of them has the balls to come out and debate me live publicly. All right? Because their truth is limited to a limited knowledge. Why I'm doing this workshop is to bring that knowledge to people that want to move forward. Get out of the programmed idea why they're even on this planet. What the reason for life is. All right? All those things. It's time to let go of the lies. Face reality. Face your truth. Learn what it is. Learn to be prepared with what's going to happen when you die. Your body dies. All those things are critical. You spend lifetime after lifetime going over the same garbage and think it's important. After the first time you stick your hand in the fire, you think you have to do it anymore? No. So you think learning, which we're supposed to do, is beneficial. But you don't learn anything here. Well, I learned how to build a house. I learned how to build a car. Does that help you? When you're out of the body, that car's not helping you. None of it is. So the workshop that I'm going to be doing is explaining all about life, love, what it really is, what it isn't, the programmed ideas, what we have of afterlife, and all that as well. I mean, I hear the word ascension and all these words, that they have no clue what they mean. And I'm going to give you ways to find out your own truth, because you can't learn it from somebody else. I can give you ways to find it for yourself, but if you don't believe it, you're going to have to prove it to yourself. And you should. All right, people. My workshop's going to be the end of this month. It's going to cost money. It's not going to be a lot of money. But I promise, depending on your situation, we could talk about it. It's roughly going to be about $125. All right. I know people charge $200, $300 for one workshop. But I will give a hotline number so that they can always call me if they need help with any of the things that I gave them to help them in their awareness. I don't walk away from people if I give them my truth, because I'm responsible for what I do, not like most people. Oh, you're a six-dimensional being. You're free to do. And you're not. You're in a body. You're on planet Earth for a reason. And nobody wants to talk about that. The workshop will be the Saturday and Sunday at the end of this month and the Saturday and Sunday of next month. All right, people. I'm going to get into everything. And I'm going to open it up to any kind of questions pertaining to the fields we're in. I'm not going to be talking about fixing a car, things like that, because I do not know. All right. What's really going on in somebody else's mind. Aliens, I can help give you more information on that than most people can. I was working with abducted people half of my life. And helping them with their problems. And it's time, people. Time to wake up. Or you'll be pulled back into the matrix and start all over in your next life. Do you want to do that? And don't say, well, I'm going to be with my family. You had many families. Do you care about them? No, you don't even know that they exist or where they are, or what they're doing. So imagine that. You were reincarnated maybe 100 times, 1,000 times. No, I'd say roughly 300 times. Remember any of those families? I doubt it, because the only one you care about now is the one you're with. I mean, that's like this song came out, love the one you're with. All right, really? I never went that way. I always loved the person that I loved, period, whether I was with them or not. All right, people. I'm going to put my email up there. If you want more information, text me, call me. I'll explain and talk about whatever you need to know about it. I'm telling you, it will be like no other workshop ever done before, because I don't think too many people can. All right. Corey Good and his experiences and all these other people, Travis Walton. It's one experience. Corey Good worked with the blue race. Travis Walton was abducted by aliens, the Greys. All right. How much information can you give you about life, death, and soul? Very little. I had 5 death experiences. I spent 45 years traveling out of my body. I met all the gods. I call them little deities, little gods. Deities from this realm all the way up to the soul plane, and then past that. And that's all the places you need to learn to go. People, I'm not here to make money. I'm here to give whatever I have as far as truth before I leave. Let me just put this up in the chat room. I can't type. I can't see. Okay. That's my email. Like I said, if you want the book on how to see UFO, text me as well. All right. I'm on Skype. I talk to certain people, but if you text me, you friend me, we can talk on Skype. Anybody that wants to. Hawksblood 11 is how I'm on Skype. All right, people. Look, it's getting close to my conference. I've been working really hard to get it to have everything that it needs to have. And it might take me a lot longer. Whatever longer it goes, it's just going to go for that. And I'll do it, period. I want to put that truth out and give it to the people that want it. Not everybody wants the truth. Nobody wants to know about death and the body and what they do and all that. They just want to believe they die, they meet their family, and they're happy ever after. Imagine living with your father or your mother for the rest of infinity. Is that what you want? I think we'd get boring, to say the least. Never mind everything else. All right, people. Till next time, Tommy Hawksblood here. Please send this link to everybody you know, and let them come on the show if they have anything important to say or experiences. I'm telling you that everything I have been dealing with just proves the opposite, that nothing's good's happening. All right. Till next time. Love, light, compassion, whatever you need in your life. Hope you get it.